What is going on, Sidecard Fiends? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Today we are here with the August PSA Pop Review for soccer cards. I've usually been doing these at the end of every month, but this month was a little bit behind, so we're just going to say that it's August now. So we're going from June to August, skipping July, but realistically, still a month between. So we're going to do what we always do, head on over to my Excel doc, look through all the supply for most of the mainstay cards. There are ones that I'm going to add this month, going into next month. But let's go ahead and start on over with that. So here we are over on the dock. Let's go ahead and talk through what we're seeing. Essentially, as you can tell, I just break these down into 3 different categories. I change the grades depending on what sort of card it is. So for vintage, it goes all the way from 2 to 10, while with more modern cards, it'll be like 8 through 10 or maybe even 9 through 10. So keep in mind, you do have to look at that. Not everything is uniform. Then we have the monthly percent changes in terms of each specific category, and then we have holistic monthly changes for each card. So we'll start with Pele up here. As far as the main things of note, this is the big one right there. A 100% increase to the Gazettas and a 5 through 7 range. The one thing I will say is the only Gazettas that are graded 5 through 7 are all Pele by himself. There are no Pele with Garrincha. My theory would be that, having 2 halves of a card be a 5 or 7 is probably harder than having 1 half of the card be a 5 through 7. So a lot more of the single Pele pictures are going to be higher graded, and that makes a lot of sense. So nothing too crazy there. Overall, Pele not having a lot of increase. Moving on to Eusebio. So here we have nothing much. Eusebio doesn't have a ton of rookie items. Well, actually, he has a lot of them, just not a lot of supply. The ones that move the most, as you can see, the yellow name back had a good percent increase over there. In addition to that, we have the blue name Velita back as well. Interesting to note with the Calciatore set, there's 4 different backs, so look through them and kind of take note as to which should be worth a premium, typically the yellows. Moving on, nothing too crazy there with Eusebio. Beckenbauer, there was a pretty substantial move here. The 5 through 7 grade of his Bergman went up 33%, so that is of note. In addition to that, also in 2 through 4 grades went up a good bit too. So decent supply there. There was also a TTT thrown in as well. Really nothing too crazy overall, I would say. Still some second year stuff coming in, which makes sense, all in high grade because those are pretty easy to grade. So usually what we see. Jared Muller, this one again pretty big. This was a massive pop change. 5 through 7 went up 140%, and 2 through 4 went up 61.9%. Overall, 75% change in Jared Muller. But I mean, it kind of makes sense now. It's more in line with what Beckenbauer's pop was. So makes sense to me. Beckenbauer is a more prominently graded one, so Jared Muller was going to catch up. I mean, they're both in the same set. Unless there was any particular reason one would be graded less, you'd assume that's how it should work out. So overall, still seeing some good supply with both of the German greats, so keep an eye out for that. Then we have Bobby Moore. He's out of order. I should probably move him up and keep it all aligned, but really nothing graded there, so good to see if you're a Bobby Moore guy. Well, I guess if you have some, not if you're looking for some. With Cruyff, we have the 1968 and some of the 69 and 70 here. As far as the biggest changes, as you can tell, 1970 card getting graded a good bit isn't anything crazy. I mean, later year stuff's going to get graded later. It makes sense. I like mapping it out just to see how that changes and how it moves. Overall, though, nothing too much in terms of Cruyff rookies and percent gain. The Verlag is up the most with 3.3, but it's also the lowest pop, so it's easiest to change the percent. But really, nothing much getting graded. The Vanderhout being the one with the most total graded, which seems to be in line with how many are out there. So Platini, not much Platini this month, really not too much at all. 3% change in his rookie and a little bit to the second year, but that's going to happen. Maradona, this was, I was kind of hoping for a little Maradona. Lately I've been picking up some, so I was hoping to see this be higher. It was not, which is sad. As far as the disc, none graded. Same with the cartoon, the Stampus. Keep in mind this is not PSA 1, PSA 1.5 grades, so there may have been some of those. But I do not track them. With Hugo Sanchez, we have a little bit of his World Cup sticker getting graded, which makes sense. Typically a more plentiful sticker for a lot of players. Ruud Gullit, nothing going on there. This one actually, Matthias, he had a a big move overall, I would say. So let me copy that and put that over there. I think this should work. If not, yeah, okay. In terms of his Americana, it got a +1 to the 8 through 10 pop. Didn't have anything before, so that is a huge card, whoever got that. Beyond that, really nothing too much. The foosball foil actually did have a +2 to the pop, so that is of note also. Another one, this one was kind of strange. I found this to be crazy. So Mark Van Basten, everyone knows that that's kind of a rare sticker, but did have a pretty good move. So there was one graded in the 8 through 10 range. There was also another one graded in the 5 through 7 range, and there was another one graded in the 2 through 4 range. So 3, what would be pretty expensive Mark Van Basten's getting graded this month. Who knows if they'll come to auction. Never really know with that kind of stuff. Maldini had a pretty big boom, I would say, in his overall pop. 10% increase to the Calciatore and 33% increase to the Flash, but didn't have much to begin with, so it's easy to increase that. Compared to Baggio, which had a good percent increase in the Flash as well, but none of the Calciatore. So I think again, that's another scenario kind of like the Jared Muller, where Baggio is probably more worth getting graded for a while. Those Maldinis are going to catch up once he's worth something. So I think, again, just kind of equilibrium being reached there. Cantona with a +1 to his pop in low grade. Bergkamp with none being graded. Zidane with 1 being graded in the 2 through 4. I mean, this is good stuff to see as far as like 80s and 90s cards, because obviously they're still worth a good bit at this point. So to see basically nothing getting graded for Rivaldo, Roberto Carlos, that was kind of surprising. I mean, with these Brazilian issues, at least the last few months, if we just scroll over, last month you can see that with Roberto Carlos, there was a, 18 and 16% change, and with Rivaldo, there was a 16% change. So I was expecting more of the same, of which we did not see, so that was a little surprising. With R9, there were some changes, I would say, mostly to the Monday Deportivo. Outside of that, the vote ball did have a little bit, but other than that, pretty stagnant, which is good. Beckham's still increasing at a decent rate. The Merlins are up again, which is what we've come to kind of know at this point. The Shreddy's still holding strong there, though, so that's good to see. Buffon, currently not getting graded by PSA. I don't believe his Japanese back. Eventually, once that's added, I'll throw it on into here, but small percent increase, none to the 7 or 8. Beyond that, Pirlo, small increases. Henri, this one was pretty good. No Panini foot this month, which I thought was nice. Beyond that, the Europas is getting graded a little bit. So keep an eye out for that if you're a fan. There is supply, theoretically. We also have Eto'o getting a little bit of an increase, both to the 9 and 10 and the 7 and 8. Stevie G's pop didn't move at all this month. Frank Lampard actually had a good percent increase, but there's barely any Frank Lampard out there graded right now, so keep that in mind. With Xavi, we had increases to the Monday Chromo at 6.6%, which is a good percent because he already has a lot of those getting graded. And then the Panini Football, which did have a 4% increase, but really that was only a +1 to the highest grade. So nice card getting graded, but not too many there. The Estee sticker didn't have any graded this month, which I thought was kind of surprising considering it's more plentiful than most of them here. And the Panini Liga, which is the most rare, it would seem, of his rookies, has also not gotten graded this month. So interesting to note. Casillas also not much getting graded. At this point, though, I'm a little weary on some of the 90s players and how much they'll get graded, unless it's like a mint card, right? At least for now, because whenever I see auctions go for some of these Monday Chromos and stuff like that, they don't really do good at all. Like, the only ones that really do well, in my opinion, are like Iniesta and Xavi, because those are like the big names. But beyond that, once you get to like Puyol and Casillas, and I mean, I'm sure Eto'o does well because it's pretty rare, but generally speaking, it's tough. So I don't know how rabid people will be to get this stuff graded. Time will tell. Still no 9s or 10s for Casillas Monday Chroma or Estee sticker, which is I would think pretty surprising. Obviously, there's problems with grading and I guess how they put the cards out, but I think it's interesting. Beyond that, Ronaldinho, he did have a little boost here. He had a 9 or 10 graded this month, which was huge. I believe it was a 9. And then a 5 through 6 getting graded too. Zlatan with no movement. Ronaldo with 3% change to his Mega Cracks, mostly in low to med grade, and then there was also a PSA 9/10 of both the Mega Cracks and the football sticker. Again, I think both of those were just changes to the PSA 9 pop. For Wayne Rooney, he did have a pretty good increase, both to his Merlin Gold and to the green back, the black back having none graded at all this month. Then we get into Messi, one of my favorites because, well, 1, I like Messi, and 2, I think it's kind of fun because there's a lot more rookies for him. So as far as the pop changes this month, the biggest ones of note would be right here with the blue Campio going up 4%. And then also you got a 3.3% on the Mundi Chromo foil and a 3% on the regular Mundi Chromo. In total, the one with the biggest move would definitely be the Mundi Chromo. Just in a PSA pop alone, it went from 265 last month to 280 this month. The biggest thing of note here is there was a 10 graded this month, which if I go back, I don't think we've had a 10. Oh, no, the last 10 we had was one of the white ones. But the white ones are a lot easier to grade. There's 162 of them, so I almost don't even count them, really. So the last time we got a 10 that was not the white version was in April. So there hasn't been any 10s up until August, and now we finally got one. So there she is, a green Campio, which is actually pretty big because up until now, it still is the third least graded 10 of all the Messi rookies. There was 3, there's now 4. I don't know how this plays out. I don't know why the green is so much, like, that's one of the things that's boggled my mind. Why is the green so hard to grade, but the blue's not? It really doesn't make a ton of sense to me, especially because, I mean, even when you look at the 9s, the green's a lot less than the blue, but when you look at 8s, the blue and the green are the same. So part of me wants to think, oh, well, maybe it just gets graded less, but when you see the 8s being the same, they probably get graded about the same. If everyone's sending in the same amount of 8s, I don't know. Would love to hear your thoughts down below on what makes that happen, but yeah, as far as this, I don't know how it's going to play out, what'll be the most rare 10, because at the moment it's looking like the top Liga Mundi Chromo and the Mundi Chromo foil. I'd imagine the foil wins out over the regular card, since once you add foiling into something, it's going to be harder to grade. So in my mind, it's basically between the foil and then the green. And the foil has 1 and the green has 4 at this point. So I don't know. I think that the chrome foil is going to be quite the card. I mean, in my mind, it already is, but yeah, with more movement on the other ones, it makes that even a more solidified take. Still really interested. I need to probably figure that out and see where it would be. But it's interesting. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe someone actually knows. I'm just kind of spitballing. Sergio Ramos had a decent move in his Mega Cracks and Mundi Chromo. Percent-wise, really nothing too massive, though. Still not a lot of grading happening on Ramos, which I find to be a little sad, because typically with players like that, as I was mentioning before, when they get graded, and if someone auctions them, they kind of go on steals, because, I mean, not a ton of people are checking every single week for Sergio Ramos, or every single day for Sergio Ramos, so you can kind of get some snipes here and there, and so I'm looking for it, you know, I want them, but there's not a lot getting graded at the moment, so it's probably a good decision on seller's point. Beyond that, we have Lewandowski with only a move in his action shot, which is the more plentiful. Still nothing coming in as far as the headshot. And then I always like to keep track of Mbappe and Haaland just for fun. I then have a template down here, so don't worry about the bottom of the screen and what you're seeing. As far as the Mbappes, the biggest move this month was on his Select Unlimited Potential. This actually moved a lot. It's one of the lower pop ones, but moved pretty heavily, 9% and also 6.25%. Beyond that, there were 0 Topps Chrome Refractor 10s added for Mbappe, and Panini Foot had a +2, so nothing too crazy overall. For Haaland, pretty big increases again. I guess when the numbers are already this high, they don't seem like big increases, but the foosball going up 5%, that basically means like 50 plus were added this month. Like that's a sizable amount in 9s, and also once you add in 10s, and there's also some there. So yeah, I mean, Haaland, again, 3% change to Finest, 1% change to Chrome, 2% change to Sapphire, and almost a 5% change to Foosball, which is tough. I love the Foosball sticker. I just, to this day, I still haven't bought one. I'm not convinced on modern stickers. I love stickers. I think they're great. I think that they definitely have a place. As far as if it's 2019 and beyond, I don't know. I think, like, in my mind, Mbappe was the cutoff. That's the last one. Because from 2016, a lot's happened in the market to where we are now. So I feel like that's sort of the line. But obviously, everyone makes their own decisions. Do what you want. it's all arbitrary. But yeah, that is going to be it for the review for August. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like. As always, I ask you guys to tell me some players as well. If you could, keep it to like top 50, 100 players of all time, ideally. I don't want to add too many, kind of extras in there that don't need to be added. Also, ideally, after 1930, 1940, I don't want to get too into the weeds, because honestly a lot of the tracking on pops before that might not even be all that necessary, and also isn't going to be ideal for a viewer if we start off a video talking about someone they've never heard of and continue on that route for like 3 minutes. So just things to think about. Appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. On top of that, if you want to see more videos like this as soon as we go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.